Hello, everyone. So it is 3 a.m. and you can probably tell I'm awake. I couldn't sleep tonight, and I figured I would try to make this video because it's been on the list of videos that I've had kind of filtering around in my mind. Obviously, in the past, I've talked about autoandrophilia and this kind of forgetting that I'm a woman thing. And I don't know a better way to say it than that. There are days that I just honestly forget that I'm supposed to be a woman, and then someone has to remind me, and that gets, kind of annoying. But I've been trying to figure out just what it is about being a woman that I despise so much. Like, obviously, I just had a baby. I love my baby. He's sleeping right over there. I'm very happy holding him and cuddling him and doing all the mom things for him. So why would I have any complaints whatsoever about being a woman? Obviously, there's the let's separate the physiological, like the biological elements, from the sociological elements for a second. Do I have any complaints about being biologically female? Yeah, I do. Pelvic organ prolapse is not fun. Having your internal organs falling out of your body is not fun. Do I ever want to be pregnant again? I don't know if I really want to be immobilized for 9 months again. Like, that was not a fun time. And then on top of that, there's the long-term damage that comes with that. And that's not pretty. Worth it? Baby. Totally worth it. All I want in the world are my babies. And I had 5 of them. I'm very, very blessed. I'm very fortunate. But I don't ever want to do that again. So yeah, physiologically, there's a part of me that looks at it and says, man, being a man would be nice. Just being a man or just being a woman doesn't necessarily dictate what kind of a body you're going to have. Or, what you're able to do with that body. Men have pelvic organ prolapse too. It's not just a woman thing. Granted, it's more common in women. I got pregnant a lot. That comes with a price, and I'm paying that price, even as we speak. But it happens to men too. It's not just a man-woman thing. So, physiologically, do I have many complaints about being a woman? I'm not looking forward to menopause. I'll be okay. Sociologically, do I have complaints about being a woman? Absolutely. My God. I could go on for days. What is a woman in this society? I'm not asking, what is a woman? I mean, what is a woman in this society? Ugh. Do I want to be one of those? Think about it. Why the hell would I want to be a woman in this society? You get coddled, you get babied, and then you get condescended to. Let me count the ways. It's disgusting. I see a million guys going online talking about how, women are such dumb tramps and all this stuff. But seriously, we live in a society that doesn't necessarily expect women to take responsibility for their bad decisions. And I'm not talking, let me clarify, I'm not talking about pregnancy and childbirth and having kids, okay? I'm not even talking about that, because there's some debating there that could go on. Everybody always blames the woman when she gets pregnant. It's like, oh, you're the one that's pregnant, so you're the one who's at fault. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Shit happens. Rape happens. Abusive relationships happen. People get stuck in unpleasant situations. Nobody ever blames the guy. They always blame the woman. Let's be fair. They always blame the woman. So when people are like, oh, your bad decisions, it's like, okay, where's the dude? Where's the dude who made the bad decisions? Oh, he's gone. He got to run away from his bad decision. Us, we're stuck with it. Now, if the dude gets landed with a bunch of child support for some bimbo he knocked up on a one-night stand, then he has to pay for the consequences of his decisions, and a bunch of guys are sitting around going, oh, well, that's not fair. He doesn't have any rights to fatherhood. Fair enough. Fair enough. His paternal rights are being, maybe pretty questionably handled by the system. But if he doesn't get caught, if he has that one-nighter and she can't pin down which guy it was, he's scot-free. There's no consequences for his bad decision. He got off lucky, see? He made the bad decision, but he didn't get caught. Women, when that happens, we always get caught. And I know there are a lot of women out there who are annoying about it. They're like, oh, well, some man should come in and take care of my baby. Some guy should come and he should pay for my bills. But they do that whether or not they're pregnant. They do that whether or not they have a baby. There are way too many women in this society who are like, okay, somebody come take care of me. I'm right here. I need somebody to take care of me. Why? Seriously, why? Why do we teach women, oh, you just need someone to take care of you? I cannot tell you how many times when I was a young single woman, I'd have guys tell me, you need somebody to take care of you. Really? Really? Because it looks to me, where I'm standing right now, it looks to me like I'm doing a damn good job of taking care of myself. I don't need someone to step in and do that job for me. I can do that by my own. What I need is companionship. What I need is someone that I feel a sense of connection to. What I need is a partner. I do not need a fucking babysitter. But that's what society told me I needed. That's what people told me I needed all the damn time. Oh, honey, you need somebody to take care of you. I had a guy I was sleeping with. I liked him. I liked him a lot. He was a good guy. And I don't know if it was a southern thing or what, but he was like, you need someone to take care of you. No, I don't. We are sitting in my apartment that I got by myself, that I pay for by myself. The electric bill, I paid that. I am fine. I am living exactly the kind of lifestyle I want to live on my own without any interference. I didn't ask you here to pay my bills. I didn't ask you here to take care of me. I asked you here because I like you and you're ridiculously sexy. Let's be honest. I see so many women out in the real world, like out in nature, if you can call a city a woman's natural habitat, which for these women it is. Somebody needs to pay my bills. Somebody needs to take care of me. I go out on dates with men so I can get free meals. I have sugar daddies. I want somebody to, pay for my shit. And then, of course, someone needs to pay for this baby that I've got. And I kind of understand it if, she slept with a guy and then he just up and disappeared on her. It's like, wait a minute. Why am I getting left with the bill? Why am I the one standing here going through all the bodily harm that pregnancy causes? Because pregnancy, it's rough on a human body. Why am I the one who's dealing with all that? And where the fuck did he go? And everybody's sitting there looking at me being like, well, this is your bad decision. This is your poor judgment. This is your fault. This is your problem. Suddenly all the blame gets landed on me. Like, I should have known better. I should have known that he was going to just fucking disappear. I can understand why there are women sitting around saying, hey, wait a minute. Whoa, someone's got to pay for this baby. I'm not going to do this whole thing all by myself. It's not my fault that he got cold feet and he disappeared. I can understand them. Hey baby, let's have a kid together. Everything's going to be wonderful. Wow, mood swings. I'm out of here. You're a bitch. It's kind of shitty. That's shitty. I'll agree with the women on that. But there are also women who are like, just, okay, I know. I have an example. I have an example. I had a friend in high school. She was, I was socially awkward. She was socially awkward. We became friends. We bonded over our mutual lack of social graces. And she was an okay person. In high school, she was pretty okay. Because we were kids. We were in high school, we were kids. You make friends with the people in your high school group. You're all in the same class together. You're all kind of shoved into this tight, stuffy little school building. And you make friends with the people who are stuck next to you in this horrible environment that you've been trapped in. And she was okay, She was obsessed with romance novels. Okay, not my thing, but that was her thing. Okay, cool. She was a little irresponsible around the edges. Her mom was a single mom, and her grandmother had ended up raising her. Not such a great story. And she was kind of forgetful and irresponsible. And her grandmother was always harping on her to be more responsible. And I was a kid. So I just looked at it, was like, well, I mean, she's a teenager. What are you going to do, right? Like, she's an irresponsible teenager, but she's a teenager, right? And we graduated high school, and I was fighting my own battles, Right after high school, it was a big time for me because I finally had 100% control over my own body. Like, bad things that happened to me, I was really physically messed up. And I was 18. So legally I was an adult. And so I suddenly had legal authority over everything that happened here. And I had a mess on my hands. And it was like, okay, how do I survive? Like, I'm in charge of my own ship, which is awesome. I get to make the decisions from here on out. I get to say what happens to me. That's awesome. Because up until this point, I haven't had that. Unfortunately, I'm already in pretty rough shape, and I need to figure out how to get out of it, because nobody's coming in to save me. Nobody's coming in to save me. How ironic that is, isn't it? Nobody's going to come and take care of me. Nobody's going to come and rescue me from my problems. I've had a lifetime of that shit. Maybe that's the reason that I don't like this whole, oh, you need a man to take care of you. Why? Where the fuck was he when I needed him? When I was a kid? When I was a child? Nobody came to take care of me then. I don't need it now. I figured it out. I'm doing okay. Pretty superfluous at this point, isn't it? That aside, I had my own battles to fight. My friend, she had her battles to fight. She went through some adventures, wasn't doing so well with the adulting. Eventually, she moved to another part of the country, and I was all alone, trapped in my tiny little hometown. She had gone off to live with some relatives and on the other side of the continent. And, I didn't hear from her that often, but we kind of kept in touch. Facebook is a thing and all. And I was trying to get my life under control. And as the years passed, I got more and more under control. A lot of people will look at me and say, stripper, were you really that under control? It's like, okay, fine. Maybe not your idea of control, but I spent my nights getting paid to work on my body and repair all the damage that I had gone through as a kid. I got paid to do that. How many people get completely fucked up through no fault of their own because I was a kid? I will take no responsibility for the shit that was done to me when I was a child. I will not. Sorry. I'm not apologizing for that shit. Crap happened to me when I was a kid. I had no control. I had no control. The moment I was an adult, I had control. I fixed it. All the people of this world can look at me and say, you're a disease on society. Fine. You made this disease, and this disease took care of itself. I healed myself. I'm healthy now. I have pelvic organ prolapse because I had a lot of kids, but I'm mostly healthy. She was not as successful with the adulting. And at one point I remember talking to her, and she was sleeping with a bunch of guys. No protection, just sleeping with a bunch of guys. And I was like, this seems like a horrible idea. Why are you doing this? You know, she's bragging about it, like these guys she's sleeping with, and it's like, oh my God, he's so sexy. And I'm like, number one, when you describe a man to me starting with his dick, I'm sitting there thinking, what about his personality? Does he have a brain? Does he even have a head? Like, the top part? Who the F is this dude? Like, who the F are any of these dudes? Like, you're having a party and that's great. You're not using any kind of protection. How do you plan not to get pregnant with this party you're having? And she's like, I want to have a baby. Now, at the time, I used to, before I met my husband, I used to have nightmares about having kids. I was terrified of having kids. I had nightmares that I would get pregnant in my nightmares, and I would give birth to these deformed things. I remember, I think I've mentioned it in the videos, I had a guy that I dated, and he was really serious about me, and I was not serious about him. Like, he got serious about me fast, and I was like, I don't want this long term. And I ended up breaking up with him because I started having these mental images. They weren't entirely visions, but basically visions of these two horrific children. And they would just stand there side by side. It was a little boy and a little girl. And they looked a lot like a cross between me and him. And they would stare at me. And they had these dark, because he had brown eyes, I had brown eyes. They had these dark, accusing eyes, and they would just stare at me. And every single time I saw them, it was like I could almost, I could see the expression in their faces, and it was like, Mother, how could you? Not with this one. No. I broke up with him. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't date him with these two, like, spectral children staring me down like, how the F could you do this? It was like, yeah, this isn't going to work for me. I'm sorry. He couldn't understand why I was breaking up with him. He was really upset, and it was like, I have spectral children chasing me through my life, basically accusing me of, you know, how could you start a relationship with this guy? How could you have kids with this guy? Like, it was not a healthy relationship. He was not a healthy person to be in a relationship with, at least not for me. And I could see that. I could see as the thing was forming up, it was like, this is not going right. This is not going in a good direction. I broke up with him. I had nightmares about getting pregnant. So the idea, like, really quickly aside, I don't want to get off track, but all of that changed when I met my husband, obviously. Now I've got 5 kids. Babies are amazing. Babies are addictive. I've got 5 of them. Everything changed when I met my husband. I finally found somebody that I trusted, which was a big issue for me. I'm not a trusting person. That I respected. That I actually saw myself, being attracted to, like genuinely fully attracted to. And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, let's make lots of babies. It was like a total 180 from, I don't ever want to have kids. I realized that at some point I might want to have a kid. And so I was like, well, I'm not finding anybody. So if I haven't found somebody by the time I turn 28, maybe I should start looking into a sperm donor. Start thinking along those lines, because I'm not finding anybody. And, I'm 23. I haven't found anybody yet. Maybe I'm just not compatible with people. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm just bad. Maybe there's just something broken in me and I can't find anybody. 23, just trying to look ahead. If I can't find somebody by 28, I'm going to start looking into that whole sperm donor situation. And then I met my husband, like, a couple months later. And it was like, all right, lots of babies, so many babies. I want to have all the babies. This gal, she was sleeping with random guys and not using protection because, well, I want to have a baby. I was like, that sounds remarkably stupid. Like, when we were kids and we were teenagers and we were irresponsible, kids, teenagers, irresponsible. I mean irresponsible like I didn't do my homework. Irresponsible like I didn't study for my test. Oops. I'm not talking irresponsible like we're grown-ups now, you're a legal adult, you're getting drunk and you're going to parties and you're having sex with random guys. No protection. You totally could get pregnant. This is bad. You are not being responsible. This is not a good thing. You should not be doing this. As your friend, I am telling you, this is not a good thing you were doing. A year later. Maybe not a full year. One day, I'm trying to fix my life. I think at that point I was 20. I was going to school to get my EMT basic. So I talk about being a stripper all the time. I don't talk about working on an ambulance, being an EMS, nearly as much. I hardly ever mention it. Yes, I worked on an ambulance. Yes, I was in emergency medical work. I figured that was going to be my career path because it was a career path and it was like any port in a storm. And also, I just don't get bothered by stuff, so, I was working on the ambulance and I saw one of my coworkers just freaking out because we had a dead child in our ambulance. She was freaking out. She was panicking. I was inexperienced. I was very, very green. I'm sure I could have done a better job. I'm sure. I know I could have done a better job. Granted, they were already dead when we got on the scene, so you can't really do a better job. But, I could have handled myself better in that situation. I was very, very green. It was my first kind of situation like that. My boss was right there. Partially could have done a better job because I followed directions from my coworker who was panicking, who was not very green, but still couldn't handle the death of a child. Not that that's a mark against her. Like, seriously, how many people in this world can, stay perfectly calm when there's a dead kid? EMS. I did it. I didn't do it fully. I don't talk about it a lot because I was a rural ambulance, and so I saw a couple things happen. I worked there for almost a full year, and at the end of that time it was like I spent most of this time feeling like I didn't have a job and wishing that I did. I was bored. I was socially isolated. I hated this, and I do not want to spend any more time doing it. I came here to do emergency medical work, and instead I didn't work at all, and I collected a paycheck, and that's really nice, but I want to work. And so I left. I got a backup job as an exotic dancer, and so for a while I was working on an ambulance by day and getting naked for people at night. I did that. It really happened. That really happens sometimes. I see people joking about that, like, oh, that would never happen. No, it totally happens. Totally happened. EMS just didn't work out for me. But I was trying to be responsible. I was 20 years old. I was too young to become an exotic dancer, so I was getting my EMT basic under my belt, and I was getting a job as an EMT. I was doing my job. I was being a responsible person. Very responsible. She calls me up. I'm in the middle of EMT training. So, training, I should also mention this, training in EMS, ambulance work, is licensed by the state. Different states have different kinds of medical emergencies that you can get into. So different states have different, emphasis in that training. For me, it would not be the same as, here, I'm in the South right now. We probably get a lot more training on how to recognize and deal with heat stroke. What are you going to encounter out here? Heat stroke. Kid trapped in a car. Bad things. But where I was living, heat isn't so much the issue. Frostbite. Freezing to death. You know, every couple years, I swear, like some kids, I remember last year that I was there, this happened. And this was not an uncommon occurrence. Some kids, their car broke down because it's freaking cold. Their car broke down on the side of the highway because there's highways everywhere. It's the middle of nowhere. And they saw a house out in the distance. It was across the wheat field. All you got to do is just cross that wheat field and you'll get to that house and you can ask for help. And that car's getting really cold. And they started walking for the house. They tried to make it. You never do that where I come from. Because you don't make it across that wheat field alive. People commit suicide where I come from. They park on the side of the road. They get out of their car. They strip off their clothes and they just start running. You run out into the wheat field. By the time you start thinking, hey, this was a bad idea, I should come back. I should turn around. It's way too late for that. You don't make it back. By the time those kids realized this wheat field is a hell of a lot bigger than we thought it is, that house is a hell of a lot farther away than we thought it was too late. They never made it. That's where I got my training. Your training is licensed by the state. She calls me up from the other end of the country. I need you to come and take care of me. I'm pregnant. I need you to come and help me with this baby. What? Dude, what? What are you talking about? Dude, I can't leave. I'm in the middle of training. I'm trying to get my license. I'm trying to start up my career. I'm trying to become an independent adult. I'm working crazy hours in a nursing home, and when I'm not working in the nursing home, I'm going to night school. What are you talking about? And she's like, I need you to come and help me. I'm pregnant. I was like, okay. Who's the father? I don't know. You don't know. You don't know. You've been having sex with all these guys and you don't even know their damn names. And you're calling me up to help you. Dude. Find the dad. Why are you calling me? I can't go anywhere. You're on the other side of the country. What do you expect me to do? I talked with her for a little while, and it kind of dawns on me. I was like, have you taken a pregnancy test? She's like, no. I just know I'm pregnant. I'm like, okay. Breathe. We're all going to breathe. I want you to take a pregnancy test. And if it is positive, then call me back. I'm not moving across the country to stay with you because you're late on your period by a couple days and you're sure you're pregnant, but you haven't even taken a pregnancy test. I need to finish my EMT training. I need to start my career so that I can have a sustainable way of living. Like, I need that for me. Like, I need to take care of myself here. Please take a pregnancy test before you ask me to rearrange my entire life. She's like, I thought you were my friend. I'm like, you don't even know if you're pregnant. And you're asking me to move all the way over there, the other side of the country. She's like, you could finish your training here. I was like, it's licensed by the state. It's literally licensed by the state. If I leave now, number one, I don't finish my training. Number two, I can't just pick up where I left off in another state. I paid for this class. I need to finish it. I need to take care of myself, you know? I need to have a career. I dropped out of college. This is my career path. I'm not going anywhere. You're a terrible friend. Somebody needs to help me take care of this baby. I'm just sitting there like, you said you wanted to get pregnant. You were sleeping with random guys with no protection because you said you wanted to get pregnant. Congratulations, you got what you wanted. What are you calling me for? I thought you were going to help me. You're my friend. I guess this is the start of a series of videos because this has gone really long. And I'm going to try to edit it down at least a little bit, but I mean, it's been long. Why don't I want to be a woman in this society? Why don't I want to be a woman? I'm not her. I've never been her. I've never had the luxury of being her. I nearly died when I was 17. Nobody came to save me. Nobody took care of me. I had to drag my body out of that building all the way to my car. And I remember driving home sick and, alive. Alive. Just barely alive enough to get to the car and to turn the ignition. And I was sitting there thinking, dear God, if there was ever a day that a cop pulled me over, please let it be today. Please let it be right now. Please let a cop pull me over. And I can tell them, I don't care if you give me a ticket or not. Just, I'm dying. Help me. Help me, I'm dying. Please, please, please let that happen. No cops that day. I've been pulled over like 1,000,000 times leaving the strip club at the end of the day. I get off work, the club closes, I change out of my gear, I walk out the door, I get into my car, I turn the engine, I start driving out of the parking lot. They pull me over right as I'm driving out of the parking lot. Have you been drinking? No! I've been working. I'm tired. My feet hurt and I want to go home. Leave me the fuck alone, officer. But that day, no. Nobody came to rescue me. Nobody came to save me. Nobody was getting me out of that trouble. I was there all by myself. I didn't ask for that trouble. That was handed to me. Over the first 17, 18 years of my life, it was handed to me. Nobody was coming to save me. Nobody. And I grew up like that. I grew up knowing that I was on my own. Knowing that I had to take care of me. I had to be strong. And I got strong. And I got tough. And I did well. I'm very happy with the life I've built for myself. I have a loving husband. I have 5 beautiful children. They're his kids too. He's been an incredibly genetically successful adult human male. And I'm proud to say that I've helped him with that because this is going to sound so sterile, but he's a fantastic specimen of humanity. And I'm so glad that there's more of him in this world. And I'm so happy that I could help to make that happen. I'm happy with the life I built for myself. But I have this life today because I was strong and I was tough. This whole, oh, you're a woman. You need someone to take care of you. Give me a second. Somebody is hungry. I need to wrap up this video. Oh, okay. There we go. Alright, I'm going to need to wrap up this video very fast. But, yeah, like, everybody needs someone to take care of them as a human being in a human society. But I think today's society has just infantilized women. Like my friend. You need to stop what you're doing, rearrange your life, and come take care of me. Why? Because you're my friend and I can't take care of myself. And I've never had to take care of myself. I've always had someone to take care of me. I've always had someone to bail me out. And now I'm in trouble, so somebody needs to come and take care of me and somebody needs to bail me out. And that's the expectation that people have for women way too often. And then everybody's like, well, you're a woman. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, sir. I don't think so. I'm a biologically female? Oh, yes. Did I make this? Yes. I made this. But, no, I'm not like her. I'm not like that. I don't ever want to be like that. I don't ever want to be, oh, I'm in trouble because of bad decisions that I made. Because I knew the consequences, but I just assumed someone was going to come and bail me out because someone's bailed me out every single time I've ever gotten in trouble throughout my whole life. No. Oh, goodness me. Yeah, I know. This is another reason I haven't made many videos lately. You are adorable. I'm going to have to call it quits on this one. I'm going to make more videos. What I don't like about being a woman. I've got so many stories to tell you guys. I got so many things to complain about. This is going to be fun. I hope you are all having a wonderful 4th of July. And I'll talk to you guys later.